In this video, we're going to try to integrate Google OAuth authentication so that when we're trying to sign in or create an account, we could log in with Google. So to do that, first of all, we make sure everything is closed. So we're going to have to close all, and let's go over here and let's collapse everything. So the thing that I have to do here is I have to create a component. So I have to go to the client folder. Inside there, I have to go to source, components, and in here I only have a footer and header, and I have to create another component which is going to be called OAuth, like that, and it's going to be called OAuth.jsx. Now over here we could just use rafc, and what we could say is, we could just say Google or something. Now over here what we want to do is we want to add it in our pages. Remember our sign in page as well as our sign up page, we have to go right after the button. So let's go to the sign in page. So remember in the sign in page we had this entire form which is starting from, so I don't know why there's, maybe this line randomly came, but remember when there was this form in the return where you could see that there's this form and this form closes all the way here, there's this button, right? What we want to do is right after this button, which is the sign in, we want to create our Google OAuth. So OAuth, we're just going to use this. We're going to try to import it as well. And so right now it just automatically imported it. So if I go on the top right here, you could see that it's been imported from our components. Same thing goes for a sign up. Now JSX all the way to the bottom where we have this button, which is the sign up button, and right after that we'll have OAuth. So OAuth, again, it's imported, and you could verify by going to this page, go to the sign in, you could see Google over here, and then sign up. If you go there, you could also see Google. So that's great. Now what we want to do is we want to fix this OAuth page. So what we're going to do is, fix this OAuth component. So what we want to do first of all is, instead of Google, we want to remove that, and we want to add some kind of text. Or first of all, we're going to have to put a button. So we're going to use button, and this is not any kind of button. This is actually a flow byte button. So we're going to have this one button, a special one. And if I go to the change over here, you can see immediately something has been created. So this is the flow byte button over here. You could just say sign in with Google or something, whatever you could say, and look how nice it looks like. But right now we're not going to do like this. What we want to do is we want to add some kind of cool styling to this. So first of all, make sure, remember those buttons were inside of a form. We want to make sure that that's not a submit button, right? By default a button is a submit button, so we could just call it as a dummy. Like a button has this other type of purpose, like if there's a functionality, then the functionality is executed. So that's why we did type button. And then we have a gradient. This is special for flow byte. So gradient duotone for 2 colors, and then you could just put in, let's suppose, pink to orange. You could just use any 2 colors, and it gives you a nice design. What you could do is right after that you could have the button as outline so that it looks like this, which looks really nice. And then after that we have some, basically I want to add an icon here. So we could use AI fill Google circle. Okay, so this is a icon coming from, it's coming from this 1 minute. So can I, yeah, so let me just close this out. Okay, this is coming from this React icon. So I could say control and space, and I could just press, and okay, I think I have to import it. So import, and then we have AI fill Google circle from React icon /AI. Now look at this. Right now, so far it didn't save. So when I save it, you can see that Google icon is right there. But let's make it bigger. So to make it bigger, it's super easy. We could just have a class name, right? The Tailwind one. And then in here, what we could just say is, let's make the width of 6. Okay. So you can see, and then height of 6. So that's nice. And then what we want to do is we want to margin right from the right, because it's all squished together, of 2. And now it looks really nice. Sign in with Google. Okay. Or you could just say, instead of sign in with Google, you could just say continue with Google or something like that. But yeah, I believe we could just say continue with Google, as it could be consistent with other things. So continue with Google, like that. So now this is a nice looking button. Right now there's no functionality. To add functionality, we want to put a function. and we want to call it. So whenever this on click is executed, right, we want to add in a function call. And a function call is basically for handle. We have a Google click, so handle Google, and then we have click, like that. Okay, great. So now this is an error. So what we have to do is define it over here, const handle Google, and then we have click, and then we have here like that. So now that error is gone. Okay, so what purpose do we have here? So first of all, we're gonna have to handle Google click. So this is gonna basically use Firebase, and we have to try to configure it first. So let's go to firebase.com, so firebase.google.com, and let's go here, and then over here make sure you log in, go to console. After that, try to log in with your Google account. So then after that, go to console. You'll see the console over here. These are some of my, you can see my old MERN estate project. Let's add another project, and here we have to create a name. So we'll say MERN blog -blog, and then we just continue here. We have Google Analytics for your Firebase project. We don't have to enable this, so we turn it off. Create project. It's going to take some time to create the project, but at the same time, we could basically put it right here, and then you could just look into this thing properly. So right now, you could see that handle Google click will have some kind of special functionality. The best way to get that functionality is first of all, configuring our Firebase project. So now you could see your Firebase project is ready. Continue. Let's go over here, and then you could see it's redirecting here. Now look at this. Now what you want to do is you want to get started by adding Firebase to your app. There's iOS, Android, and web. So we have to click on web, and over here we have register app. So we have to give a name to our app. So you could give an app nickname. Let's just call it the same thing, MERN-blog. And then we have also set up Firebase hosting for this app. We don't want to register app, and then click on this. Now after this first step, we'd have to go to the next one, which is add Firebase SDK. Okay, so this is very important, and I'll show you how this is also configured. So right now you could see it requires us to install. So you could say if you're already using NPM and a modular bundler such as Webpack or Rollup, you can run the following command to install the latest SDK. So first of all, we have to install Firebase. So let's go back to our project, and in here in the client part, we have to install Firebase. So normally this is my client, this is my server. I could actually add in a third one, and okay, this is not what I wanted, but it's added here. I don't know why. Wait a minute. So wait, is this the thing? Yeah. Okay, so that, and then actually what we want to do is right here. Okay, so over here you could just say cd client, like that, and then over here you could just say npm install, and then you say Firebase, like that. So now Firebase will install in the client side. This is the client. So after some time it will be installed. Next step we want to do is we want to then initialize Firebase and begin using the SDKs for the products you'd like to use. So essentially we have to copy this entire configuration for Firebase. Okay, so this is mine, and what we have to do is we have to go to this part, which is right here. You could see that my Firebase is installing, and at the same time we have to go to the client side, and in the client side what we want to do is we basically want to go to the source folder, which is right here, and in here we just have to create a file which is going to be called Firebase .js. Okay, so this is the Firebase.js file, and what we want to do is just paste it right here. So this is just gonna paste it right here. So that's good. You can see over here we have import initialize app from Firebase app, and then this is my API key. This is special, and then auth domain and project ID are just all relevant to my application. What we want to do is we don't want this API key right here, so we want to keep it in like a separate env. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out from here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to create another .env here in the root folder of the client. So over here in the client, you can see I open up the client, and make sure you have it right here in the .env, and then in here what you could do, you basically could say vite, so vite, and then we have underscore, and then we could just have Firebase, and then we have Firebase, like, come on, okay, and then we have API, and then key, and then we could put in equal to, and then paste in your API key like that. Perfect. And now what you want to do is you want to go back here, and all you got to do in the Firebase part is you have to say import .meta .env, and then you have vite Firebase API key. That's it. So that's the way to go here. One other important thing is that you are actually you're basically first initialize app from Firebase. You basically initialize the app and use this Firebase configuration. So you set the configuration and then you want to export it. So export this so that you could use it in other parts of your application, right? So this is our process here. What we want to do now is we want to basically go to our OAuth, right? So in our OAuth file thing, so let's just go back to our browser, and over here you can see everything is done. Let's continue to console. So now you can see that MERN blog is there. We have to go to the authentication, and in the authentication part, we want to get started and then authenticate and manage users from a variety of product providers. So we're gonna use this Google provider, and we have so many other options. And now what we want to do is enable it, and then after that, you know, again, you could just name it to MERN blog hyphen blog. Okay, 1 second. Let me just. Okay, so now we're gonna have support email. I'm gonna use my own email and then save it here. After saving these settings, you will go to the next part, which is gonna allow you to use Google OAuth. So now you can see this is enabled, which is perfect. Now we could go back to our code and we could use the following. So in this part over here, we have const provider, right? And what we have to say is new Google new Google auth provider. And then where is this coming from? Well, this is coming from import Google auth provider from Firebase auth. Okay, so that's how that's gonna work. Then we could use provider.set custom parameters. Now let me tell you what the reason why I'm using custom parameters here. I'm going to explain you why, because the thing is prompt and then I say select account. Okay, now the reason why I'm saying select account is because you'll see this process. When it opens up, it will open up a pop-up window. When I click on any kind of Google account, it will let me sign in. But once I already did it first time, whenever I do it the second time or third time or any time afterwards, it's not going to go and show me the pop-up. And I said over here custom parameter that every time I click on this handle Google click button, I always want to see that window, the pop-up window. That's why I've said that. So that's basically that part. And then we could use a try and catch. Right now you could see, let me use a try and catch part over here. So try and catch. Over here we could just say, next. You could use next here. And then, I mean, not essentially next, but you could just use console.log and then error. This is going to be async, remember, because you're using the Google OAuth. It's going to take some time. It's going to require that. And over here we could say const results from Google. So results from Google. Okay, and that is basically an await, and then we have sign in with pop up. Okay, this is also going to come up with let me show you. Okay, it's going to accept an auth and a provider. Well, we already have the provider, we don't have an auth right now. So where's this sign in with pop up? Well, control and space, it's also from Firebase auth. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to add in one more important thing, which is auth. So we could go here in the auth, which is right here, handle Google. So I believe one thing we've done wrong is that this function had to be defined inside of this part. So right here. Okay. Yes. And then we had to have basically. Okay, so the function, all the imports, and then this is the component, and inside we have the functions. Exactly, that's how things work. Silly mistake what I did. Over here we have const auth, okay, and we have to create this auth. Get auth, and then we have to basically, now you can see this auth is coming, right? And now this auth is basically going to be passed in here. But which authentication? Firebase needs to know which authentication are you talking about. Firebase authentication, right? You exported this from here. So that's why we are using that one. So we could just import that authentication, saying import, and then we could just say Firebase.js. So essentially you could say the app from, and then you could just say the Firebase route came here, which is this. Okay, so now this is perfect. We have this dot and then Firebase. This is the Firebase file, and this is the app that they're talking about, and it's basically being exported. So you basically could use it right here, which is great. And then it's, oh, okay. So I'm actually gonna put this app in here, so like that. Okay, everything else looks good, and I mean, it's gonna work from there. Now, one thing that we want to see is that let's just console.log the results from Google at the moment and see how things work. Let's go here. Let's go to this MERN block. Let's look at what happened here in the console. We have failed to load resource refused. Okay, let's refresh. And I believe something went off or something. Turn off. Okay, this thing turned off. Let me turn it off. Turn it on. So let me just delete this extra one right here. Okay, and install, I mean, just run the front end. So run npm run dev. Okay, okay, great. Sign in. Okay, continue with Google. So let's see, 1 second. Inspect. Okay, so right now there's no problem. Okay, sign in with Google. Continue with Google. Okay, it opens up the window. You can see it basically allows me to open up, ignore these cross-origin issues. This is a problem from Firebase itself, so they're going to improve it later on. It only comes in Google Chrome, and other browsers it won't come, but hopefully this will be removed soon in future versions of Firebase. Now over here, if I click on coding cleverly, if I click on my account, now you can see over here it says sign in with MERN block. I said continue. Okay, now if I continue this, you can see this is the console log that I got, and I said that I'm gonna get user. See this user part over here, we have an operation type sign in, provider ID google.com, and then the user, inside the user I have the access token. Amazing. And I got the OAuth, which is Firebase app, and then over here the best part ever, display name, coding cleverly, email, which is my email, photo, phone number is null, but photo URL. Now these are very vital informations. Why? Because I actually could use this for very important things, like suppose if I want to create an account, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I got these 3 amazing things, and you could use this URL, remove these double quotes which are over there, and then you could see this image like that. So you basically want to use this data to create your accounts. Okay, so let's go back into our code over here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically say that, okay, so we have the console.log results from Google. So I'm gonna say is, first of all, we're gonna have a const, we're gonna call an API from the backend, and we're gonna create this API, but just let's implement it right now. Await, and then we have fetch, and we're gonna be calling that as /API/auth, and then /Google, and this is gonna be our API call. And in here we have the formal stuff what we do with his method is post. Okay, so what happened here? 1 minute. Maybe I added some extra things here. Okay, so over here we have so method is post, headers is content type application JSON, and then in the body we have JSON.stringify, and then in here we have token. Okay, so over here what we want to do is in the body, right? So we're basically sending a post method and trying to create that account. So what we're gonna say here is that we want the basically what we want from that from that result from Google. Remember that what's coming is we want results from Google. First the user dot display name. If I go back here, I think you remember. Oh man, I closed it or something. So what I want is, first of all, I want the email, I want the name, which is the display name, and I want the photo URL. These are the things that I want from that user. You see that? Where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from user. See that? So it's basically called results from Google.user.display name. Okay, Same thing goes for the email. It's called results from user dot user, and then from results from Google, and then dot user dot email. And then the photo, you could just say Google. We could just call it Google photo URL. So photo URL, and then it's going to be results.google.photo, and then user.photo URL. Awesome. These are the things that we needed, and then we could basically go forward with this. Amazing. Now, one other thing that I wanted to say is that, okay, so this is basically being in the body, and it's being sent to this API, right? That's exactly what is happening in this API call. It's sending this data to this API. Okay, so what's going to happen is that if it's a good response, so we say await, and then we have response. So what happened here? Await, and then we have response.json. So response, and then we have .json, okay? And then we convert the response to a JSON, and then we put that as data, whether it's going to say, user created or whatever, sign in from our API, whatever the call will be. If that response is okay, what we could do is we could dispatch some sign in successful. Remember that we did before, and navigate to the home page. So that's exactly what we want to do. You could actually use this thing that you really did before. So import use dispatch, and then you could use that from React Redux, okay? And then you have import sign in success, and that's from Redux user and user slice, okay? So we have use dispatch, and that's from React Redux, and then we have sign in success, and that's from our user slice. Okay, great. So we want to actually initialize our dispatch, so we could just say const dispatch is equal to use dispatch, and in here we want to say dispatch sign in success, and then we could close this like that. Okay, so that's good. I mean, we have a successful dispatch of sign in, and we could get the data and we could show it. In terms of a navigation, it would go to the home page. So for that particular case, I need use navigate. So import use navigate. So use navigate. Okay, so navigate. So basically, what you want to do is you want to use navigate. And then that's from React Router DOM, and then you want to say const navigate. Okay, go to use navigate, and then over here you could say navigate, and then home page. Okay, great. So that's pretty much it. With that particular case, I mean, the data is there. It's successful, and it's gonna give you a sign-in success. Great. So let's create our API auth Google, right? So let's close all of this, and let's go to the server. And in here, we're gonna have to go to the routes, and in here we have the user, and then we have the auth.route.js. Over here, what we want to do is we want to create one route for Google. So we're going to say router.post, because this is also a post method trying to sign in, right? So we're going to say Google, and then we're going to have sign in, or you could just name the controller like Google.